Across the distance and space in between, you have come to show you go on. We are wherever you. I believe that heart will go on.
That was beautiful.
Dang.
Hello there.
Hey, I'm Jacob.
And I'm Evan.
All topics presented in this podcast are highly likely to contain spoilers.
We tell you this as a courtesy to you, the listener, so that we may not ruin any movies or shows for you.
Thank you for listening.
This has been your spoiler warning.
Hey, what's going on, guys? We're back with Your In-Depth covering Star Wars Season 1, Episodes 9 and 10 of the Clone Wars. Just a quick reminder, every 1,000 downloads, we are going to be pushing out a Bloops episode to you guys, and then every 100 reviews, we are going to be doing that live stream, so it's up to you guys. Jacob.
Yeah. What's up?
Do you have any intros?
Any what?
Anything before we get into the episode?
Jacob's getting married!
I mean, there is that. Yeah. Yep. Here in another 2 months.
If you screw it up, I will kill you!
You know what? That's fair. Then again, if I screw that up, I might beat you to it. Anyway.
Yes!
Also...
No. But...
So stay tuned after the episode, guys, for announcements on future Star Wars projects and some potential discussions on, I guess, some off-topic questions. So I guess like questions not about episodes 9 and 10 that Gage or Jacob or myself might have.
Yeah, that sounds good.
After we finish going through these 2 episodes.
Yeah, that sounds.
So getting into the first episode, it's episode 9, titled "Cloak of Darkness."
Yeah, and do you want me to read the little kind of summary, or do you want?
Before
maybe...
we get into the summary, Gage and I were actually talking last night while we were going through and doing our notes.
Mm-hmm.
We're gonna start including those, like the quotes that it puts right at the beginning of the episode.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So the quote for this episode was, "Ignore your instincts at your own peril." So, you know, basically saying, trust yourself, don't second guess yourself, do what you think is right.
Right, yeah.
More or less.
Yeah. Okay.
So, yeah, Jacob, if you want to cover...
You're slightly breaking up. What did you say?
So if you want to go ahead and get into the summary of the episode real quick.
Oh, yeah. So, Season 1, Episode 9, Cloak of Darkness, it says, Ahsoka and Jedi Master Luminara escort captured Viceroy Newt Gunray to trial. Unaware that Count Dooku has dispatched his deadly apprentice, assassin, Asajj Ventress, to free the prisoner and eliminate the Jedi. So that's the stage that has been set for this, I mean, that's the summary of what we're going to be talking about today.
Yeah, and this episode actually picks up basically right where the last episode left off with, as you said, you know, the Viceroy being captured by Padme Amidala.
Mm-hmm.
And as you said, Master Luminara and Ahsoka are escorting him to Coruscant, and we get introduced to a couple characters other than those two fairly early on. We have Captain Angaris, and then we also have Commander Gree. Commander Gree is the clone commander that we get introduced to in this episode, and Captain Angaris is that slime ball.
Yeah, he's an
commando guard.
He's an asshole. Don't
That we get
worry.
introduced to. And just to clarify, that blue armor that we see a couple of the soldiers having in this episode, that is the Coruscant Guard or the Coruscant Commandos. Just to clarify that.
Okay. Yeah, the Senate Commandos or the whatever. They're yeah, because I saw them and I'm like, I mean, they're not Mandalorians. What the heck? And so okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, also, those are not clones, by the way.
No.
Those commandos, those Senate guards, those are not clones. Those are actual, like, I don't want to say actual people because clones are people too.
They're free thinking.
I wouldn't even say so much free thinking. They're like civilians that signed up to do it.
Yeah.
I guess. So like they went into the military like someone would go into their country's military. And then, as you said, Ventress is being sent to free the Viceroy and eliminate the Jedi.
Right.
And I think it's important to point out that this is coming straight from Darth Sidious, or as we know, Chancellor Palpatine.
Right.
And for Count Dooku, this is really Ventress has to prove herself here. There's no room for failure, as he says in the episode, because she's had some failures recently that's put her, I guess, her skill and her actions into question.
Yeah.
So this is for her. This is really an important mission.
Yeah, and before she like kind of arrives, right? They're trying to interrogate Gunray. They had mentioned in there, and I remember that being clarified at the end of I think Phantom Menace for me, that he is a Nemoidian. That's the race term, and every time I hear it, I just think Nihoi Minoi. But that's my note there. But anyway, Master Luminara is talking to him and trying to persuade him, and it's kind of working, but he's kind of holding back. And then Ahsoka just threatens him, just pulls her lightsaber, holds it up to his face, and starts yelling at him, like basically, I will kill you, kind of thing.
Oh, it's total good cop, bad cop.
Yeah.
It worked every time.
But it is also important to point out that Luminara, like right away, is like, Padawan, no, what are you doing? That's not the Jedi way.
Right, yeah, because she says...
That's not the way to go about this.
I mean,
even though it worked, like, that's not the way that Jedi are supposed to go about this.
Right,
she is Anakin's apprentice. I mean...
yeah, well...
Yeah, she is.
But yeah...
I think it is important, just because this really just shows that for Jedi, the end does not justify the means.
Right, and Luminara, right after she does that, she says, terror is not a weapon the Jedi use. She immediately is like, hey, no. So,
smack again, no, bad.
Bad dog, bad.
She just pulls out a squirt bottle, just, stop it, no, bad. Bad Ahsoka. But yeah, relatively soon we get introduced to actually a new kind of, they've got all the different droids, the different kind of ships, and we find and see, I think probably the first occurrence of boarding ships. That new type of, the ship that, like, alongside the Vulture droids, like, fires down and just stabs into the hull, or the ship, and then it opens up and starts deploying battle droids.
Yeah.
So I made that note because that was something new. We kind of see a little bit more of the, like a little while ago we saw the different tanks that the clones have. We have the ATTEs, and all this other stuff. And now we're seeing a little more of the Separatists' machinery and
it's
ships.
showing us a little bit more of like the Separatist arsenal,
right.
What they have at their disposal.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, my next note was just we've got the leader of these Senate Commandos, or is he the leader, or is he just one of them? The Captain Argaius.
He's the captain of that group. Yeah.
Okay.
No, he's not a captain. He's an asshole. Yeah. So anyway, then Gunray is talking after all this happens to Ahsoka, and he goes, maybe after my rescue, and he like is probably gonna say some like snarky thing like, I'll let you live maybe, or something. But instead, Ahsoka interrupts him and goes, rescue? You ever think they're maybe here to make sure you won't talk? and he just kind of shuts up. He's like,
Yeah.
Because I mean, and earlier when Ventress was sent, her instructions were basically like either free Gunray or silence him.
Yeah, and that's definitely something to point out because, as we saw in the episode, at first the Viceroy was like, "Oh, they're here to rescue me," and doesn't even think that they might just turn on him and kill him.
Exactly. I mean, she's an assassin. You know, it's like she's described as that. So it's kind of like, well, I don't know if her her strong point is rescue.
Yeah, and I did note that early on in the episode 2, the Viceroy actually tries to like bribe Commander Gree, the clone.
I had that written down too.
Yeah, he tries to bribe the clone commander to like set him free, which obviously didn't work. But
obviously not on the clone, maybe on the captain hole there.
But I just think it goes to show kind of his intentions, I guess, the Viceroy's, because he's always trying to like find the upper hand, try and get people to turn to his side, whether it's through money, intimidation, or
right.
The most important person to him is himself.
Yeah. And as you said, Jacob, we see those boarding crafts come from the Separatist fleet that shows up, or the Separatist ships that show up, and we see the super battle droids drop down, and that's when Green Company, which is the company that Commander Gree is in charge of.
Yeah.
Obviously, they start engaging the super battle droids in the hangar. And at first, it kind of looks like almost like an even fight, but then very quickly, the super battle droids just start overwhelming the clones that are engaging.
Mm-hmm.
They're starting to push them back. And that's when we see one of the clones goes to like radio back to Commander Gree and let him know that they're getting pushed back. And it's like the sole survivor of the clones. I don't know if he just got knocked unconscious and came to at that point or what exactly happened there, but he ends up trying to warn them about Ventress. He says something along the lines of like, there's a bald-headed, and then gets killed by Ventress.
Right. Yeah.
Can we talk about how bulky those battle droids are, though?
Oh yeah. I mean, that was kind of the thing I noticed. Like, in the movies they're not that buff, and then in the show they are, and then even I think they kind of maybe it's like a middle ground between the movies and the Clone Wars. Because remember in the Mandalorian you saw one, and it was kind of bulky, but not like as bad.
Yeah. In the movies though, yeah, they're definitely a lot.
Yeah.
I would even say slim. They're not, as you guys said, they're not bulky in the movies.
I'm just saying bulky is like they can take damage, man.
Oh yeah. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, that too, yeah.
Like, especially like from clones shooting them.
Yeah. It took 5 or 6.
Yeah, they can take crazy
one down.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I don't know why I wouldn't just invest all of my assets into just straight super battle droids.
Yeah.
Screw those little scrawny guys that can't shoot and die in one hit.
Yeah, honestly.
Yeah.
But anyway, somewhere in here, Ventress is in now. She kills that clone, and then she kind of jumps into like I think some like pipes, not
Like
pipes.
an event.
Yeah, event. That's the word I was looking for. And starts going along.
I would like to point out right there that, and I don't know if a lot of people picked this up, Ventress actually takes the comlink from that clone that she killed.
Yeah.
So she's hearing all of the chatter that's going on the Republic side.
I did not notice that.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that, I mean...
Right about this time, Luminara starts to get ready to, go help the clones and fight and tell Ahsoka to stay put.
Right.
All right, I think we mentioned it last episode, but Ventress can also cut perfect circles.
I know, dude. I have 3 notes throughout this episode. That was literally 10 minutes in. Another perfect circle. Come on. And before that, another perfect circle cut by Ventress. What on earth, dude? How are they so precise? I try to write my name and it looks like I have Parkinson's. How does she sitting there?
Yeah, I know, man. I wrote a note down too. I was like, another perfect circle, huh?
Yeah.
Oh,
I would like to point out in this episode, and Gage and I talked about this last night, they do not once say the phrase, I have a bad feeling about this.
They don't.
I did not pick up on it this episode, so that's, yeah, okay.
This is the first episode where it's not said.
Yeah, I was wondering if I just missed it, but I'm glad you guys didn't see it either, because, yeah, okay. Yeah, wow. But yeah, and then, so Ventress kind of comes in, and I think, is it at this point that they start fighting her a little bit? Ahsoka and Luminara do?
Not quite yet. At this point, it jumps back to the clones with Commander Gree, and they were pushed back to the detention center, the detention area. And Luminara is fighting with the clones at this point. And this is when they just, finish off the battle droids, and they think that the attack is over.
Right, and actually, yeah, I see that. I did skip ahead a little bit, because up above, there was that one room where Ventress was throwing all the bombs.
Yeah, she was throwing all the explosives around. I'm pretty sure it was the engine room.
It's the engine room.
Yeah.
Yeah, and doing all these acrobatic cartwheels and backflips and twisty turnies and
Right.
All while avoiding 327.
yeah.
Yes.
Really, yeah.
Yeah, and that's why, that's my note, because there was a part on 327 where the clones that come in are talking, like, they give them instructions or something, and then they say, they refer to him as 327, and then the other clone, goes, oh, you know that they don't like droids don't like nicknames. He's 327T. And so, okay,
Yeah.
droids don't like nicknames. Maybe that's why R2's such a jerk, dude. Maybe that's why R2's such a jerk. They always call him R2E and all this other stuff, and it's just like, maybe he's just fed up.
They just call him straight R2, not R2D2.
Right. It's lack of respect, man.
I don't think R2 take Anakin says it.
Anakin or Ahsoka, yeah.
Anakin or Ahsoka, but anytime somebody else does.
That's fair. Yeah, maybe. I don't
Like
know.
Obi-Wan says, get your R2 unit. Like, come on now. That's not his name. He's not a unit.
But yeah. And then...
Yeah. Sorry. Go ahead.
Nope, you're fine. I was just trying to move along a little bit. So they do that, and then Ventress, I think, makes her way up to Luminara and Ahsoka. Because she hasn't done anything with the bombs yet. She's planted them. And then...
Yeah, and this is when Ahsoka and Ventress kind of have their one-on-one duel.
Right.
And Ventress kills a couple of the commandos here, but not all of them.
Yeah, because Luminara's down with the clones. She's not even... Yeah, she's not up there yet.
Yeah, she's not there yet. So Ahsoka's fighting Ventress with the clone commandos.
Right.
And I think Ventress kills two of them at this point.
Mm-hmm.
Or two or three, which leaves, Captain Angaris and another one still alive, another one or two still alive.
Right.
And I did note that throughout this whole, little battle scene between Ventress and Ahsoka, they're constantly, just exchanging insults on each other.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, on Ahsoka to Ventress?
And Ventress to Ahsoka.
Right. They're exchanging harsh kind of word. Ahsoka calls her a bog witch. Which,
Hairless heartbeat.
oh, yeah, and even that. What does that even mean? But no, I did note down bog witch, and I was like, all right, what would that mean? And searched it, and it was literally just because, the Night Sisters kind of being witches. And
Yeah, but at this point, no one knows that Ventress came from the planet of Dathomir.
Oh, really?
Which is where she's originally from.
So she's basically just calling her a dirty hag raven.
Basically, yeah.
Oh, okay. It's not inaccurate, but okay.
Basically. Yeah, and so this is the part too where Ventress initially frees the Viceroy, but Luminara shows up at this point, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
And Ventress ends up having to flee, and the Viceroy's left there and they recapture him. But I did remember that when Ahsoka initially gets like locked in the Viceroy's cell,
Yeah.
the Viceroy kind of makes like that snarky combat or comment to her, like, "Oh, how the roles have changed."
Yeah.
It's ironic or something like that,
Yeah.
Just kind of like, I don't know, him being, I don't know what word I'm looking for.
Can we talk about how Ventress flees and everything?
Mm-hmm.
And Ahsoka's like, "I'll come with you." And Ventress is like, "No, I can handle her." Like, that's kind of that Anakin overconfidence she's got going on there.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
it's just like I got this. Kind of like her with and I don't even know if it was her being a little overconfident or if it was just complete misjudgment of Grievous. But remember in like the previous episodes,
Yeah.
she kind of does that same thing.
The fight Grievous by herself, yeah.
Yeah.
I did note that right before Ventress flees at this point, when she's fighting Ahsoka and Luminara at the same time,
Yeah.
this is when she puts off the explosions and it cripples the entire ship.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it's the engine room. It just
It knocks out their shields, knocks out their engines, makes all the elevators kind of go haywire.
yeah.
And so it's not like she just knocked out the engine. Ventress crippled the ship very well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then Ventress leaves, and this is where, as you guys said, we see that point where Luminar has kind of that arrogance of I can take her myself. I don't need help. And I don't know if it's kind of like her way of punishing Ahsoka as well for the whole threatening thing earlier on. Like, you just stay here and guard the prisoner. I'll take care of this type of thing, or if she's just being arrogant.
Yeah. I don't know.
I can kind of see it both ways personally.
Well,
Yeah.
because you said that Ventress was in the Clone Wars movie.
Yeah.
So Luminara hasn't met Ventress.
Correct. Luminar has not.
But Ahsoka has.
Yeah.
So I think Luminara doesn't really know anything. It's like, oh, just easy peasy for me,
Yeah.
Yeah. She kind of
Ahsoka
underestimates the
actually
opponent.
knows.
Yeah. Yeah, because at this point, most of the Jedi know about Ventress, but they don't really know how skilled she is, how powerful on the dark side she is.
Right.
You don't have that, I guess, background knowledge that like Anakin, Obi-Wan, and Ahsoka have. And I would like to point out that Ventress holds her own against Obi-Wan and Anakin fairly easily in most fights.
Yeah.
I mean, like in a lot of the fights that we've seen and that we will see in the future in this show, it's a lot of like trading off with the upper hand between Ventress and like Obi-Wan and Anakin and some of the other Jedi that she fights. I mean, she's not an amateur by any means. So she's very skilled with her blades.
Oh no, she's a noob, bro. Get wrecked, noob.
Yeah. So.
And Ahsoka does mention that Ventress is too powerful for any one Jedi to fight by themselves.
Yeah, and that's when she's kind of, debating or not. Yeah, she's trying to figure out. It's like, okay, I was given an order, but I feel the need to go help her because of this.
Yeah.
And I like how she's just going like, but do I like disobey an order or this? And Argaius says something like, he's just like,
he says sometimes a soldier has to do what they think is right. That's what makes us superior.
Yeah, that's what makes us superior to droids.
I wrote that down word for word because I thought that was like an important thing.
I thought so too. But yeah, and I like how though while she's having this like kind of conflict in her, and she's like, I think I need to go, and do this and help, and he weighs in, and then Gunray's in his cell, and he's just like, I know that I would never risk my own skin if I don't have to, and then they just give him a look like, why are you shut up?
Like, you're not part of this conversation. No.
Yeah, exactly.
No. I don't think so. Oh, I think Ahsoka kind of going against the order there and going to help Luminara is definitely a total Anakin.
Oh, absolutely.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I think if she was trained by any other master, I don't think she'd go.
Oh, certainly. And then, I mean,
I
Luminara
think she
would
had
be
more
dead.
reservation about going, if she was trained by any other master. But
But she's definitely ready to ignore the order and do what needs.
I think if she was trained by any other master, I think she would still go, but she'd have a lot more reservation about going. Like she wouldn't be so quick to just disobey Master Luminara's order.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Just because of Ahsoka's personality in general, I think she would still go.
that's fair.
Um,
So in here, yeah. So she takes off, and then Argaius turns on the clones because
Not quite.
Dooku. What?
not quite yet.
Well,
Well, at the same time as they're fighting Luminara,
Yeah.
or
yeah,
fighting Ventress.
yeah. She
the
runs
same
down
time-
there.
Yeah, so,
But I don't know. Ahsoka gets down there, and Luminara is pinned under a pipe. And
I would like to move back real quick.
of course you would.
Because, as Gage said, it's kind of happening at the same time.
Yeah.
Before Ahsoka gets there to Luminara, when Luminara first engages Ventress, we see that Luminara, I don't know if it was like steam or what exactly it was, but like her one eye got injured.
Oh right.
Blinded. It was like really red and like irritated, I guess.
Yeah.
And which happened very early on, which personally I think that is kind of distracting Luminara. I think if Luminara did not like get blinded in the one eye, she would have had no problem taking care of Ventress. But again, that just resourcefulness, I guess, that she's willing to do whatever it takes to get the upper hand.
Oh, let's talk about how much of a badass Luminara.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Okay. You guys were cutting in and out very badly.
Oh,
We could hear you the whole time.
Really? That's weird.
yeah.
Well, I could not hear you.
Where did I start cutting in and out?
You started saying, let's not overlook how much of a badass Luminara is, and then you started cutting out.
Yeah, so Luminara, at this point in the fight with Ventress, has one good eye and one lightsaber.
Right.
Ventress is using two lightsabers. Like, she's swinging them from both directions. One of those, Luminara can't see coming. And she can still block them.
Yeah. And I do want to point out here that Luminara is, like, when Ahsoka calls her, like, master, it's not just out of the term of, like, Luminara is a Jedi Master. She holds the rank of Jedi Master. So it's not like she's just getting lucky either.
Right.
Like, she's definitely very skilled with the blade. She's very skilled in the Force.
She knows what she's doing.
Yeah.
Right, and I
She's
appreciate...
not a run-of-the-blow Jedi Knight,
Right.
She is a full-fledged Jedi Master.
Right, and I like that you clarified that, because earlier on, or maybe... I think it was earlier on, one of the clones referred to Ahsoka as master, and it is just that respect in that sense. But then in this sense, it is more of she's a Jedi Master. Like, this is kind of a appropriate terminology for that.
I had a question on that, too. I didn't know, like, in the Jedi Order, is it just a term of respect to call your higher-ups master? Or is it only because she's a master?
It's both. So, like, if a Jedi Knight has an apprentice, the apprentice will still refer to the Jedi Knight as master.
But, right, what if the Jedi Knight they're referring to isn't their master?
Even then, it's still a term of respect for, like, an apprentice or a youngling to refer to a Jedi Knight as master.
Okay.
So in that terms, it is a term of respect, but Jedi Master is an actual rank within the Jedi.
Right. I was confused when Ahsoka called Luminara master.
Yeah. And because we will even see, like, Ahsoka will refer to Plo Koon as master as well, refers to Obi-Wan as master, Yoda, Mace Windu. I mean, all of that listed are actual masters.
Yeah.
But my point here is, I guess, Padawans refer to those of higher rank as master, just out of that term of respect.
But a lot of them that we see are actual Jedi masters.
Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah, the only Jedi that we have seen up until this point that's not a Jedi Master is Anakin.
Yeah.
Are the only two Jedi we've seen up to this point who are not actual Jedi Masters. Like Obi-Wan is a Jedi Master, Luminara, Plo Koon, Mace Windu, Yoda.
Until next episode, right?
Until next episode, yeah.
But yeah, so Luminara's fighting, and she gets pinned underneath a pipe. And then, meanwhile, as the fighting is going on and that occurs, Ahsoka has been having that kind of, debate on, do I go down there and, disobey the order and whatnot? She decides to go. She runs down there, and saves Luminara's life.
Yeah, because like you said, Luminara is pinned under that pipe.
Right.
And Ventress is about to deal the killing blow.
Yeah. And then Ahsoka shows up, and
and you'll see later on in the episode, Ahsoka ends up doing this quite a bit. Like, she happens to show up just in time to save a Jedi Master or save a clone. And we saw it in a previous episode where she got there just in time to save Rex from General Grievous.
Yep.
Right.
And so it's kind of like a common occurrence that you will see in the show.
Mm-hmm.
Get there at the right time.
Yeah. But yeah, during this too, as they're fighting, they start fighting Ventress together a bit.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Argaius upstairs, or I guess it's not necessarily up, but I feel like it's probably on an upper level, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
But anyway, he turns on the clones because Dooku has bought out the Senate commandos. Kind of, bribed them, basically, be like, hey, do this for me. And so Argaius turns and then frees Gunray. So that's going on during this fight as well. And I made the note, once it gets back down to Luminara and Ahsoka fighting. Quick shout out to Marcel, our guest on the show back at when we did the Clone Wars movie. Your judgment sucks, dude. Ventress is ridiculously ugly. I don't understand how you were attracted to her. She looks disgusting.
I don't think that was really a shout out to Marcel at all.
No, but I want him to know. I want him to be like, oh, I was shouted out. I'll listen to it. And then he just gets insulted because I think he's an idiot. For that. Other than that, love the dude. But Ventress is ugly. That's my point. Yes.
Right before we see Captain Angaris free the Viceroy, and as you said, this is kind of happening at the same time. I do want to point out that Luminara actually admits, she admits that she just thought of Ventress as the I guess inferior duelist, or however you want to phrase it.
Yeah.
She actually admits to Ahsoka that she was wrong. She should not have tried to fight Ventress by herself. Which I think kind of shows Luminara's character a little bit. Like she'll admit when she's wrong. She's not just going to sit there and try and take the high road. She's not going to. I don't know.
Yeah.
She's willing to admit her faults.
Yeah, definitely. So yeah, why don't you go ahead, since each time I try to progress the chronology of things, you back up. Why don't you do you want to proceed? Because I want to be on the same page as you. You go into a lot more detail than my notes provide, and I just
before Gage goes.
Okay.
The reason I back up is because while Gage and I are writing down our notes, I'm literally going and writing down the events as it shows up in the episode. Is why I'm going to jump.
Yeah, and I'm not blaming you for that. It's just that's how it's been, And I don't want to overlook anything or skip over it. So I do appreciate you being like, well, hold on. But I'm just saying that maybe it would be better for you to direct it since you know the events and all that better.
Hey, Jacob.
Yes.
So this is probably going to be a blooper.
Okay, well, hold on a second. Let me jot down the time. We're at 53 minutes 20 seconds, and that is jotted down. What's up?
So Ahsoka's 13, right?
Oh no, Gage.
What?
I don't know if that's even a blooper. I don't think that can be public.
So continuing on,
Yeah.
Captain Argaius has killed the other Republic Commando, the Coruscant Guard. And him and Commander Grey kind of circling each other. And Argaius kind of comments back to what he told us. Sometimes a good soldier has to do what they believe is right.
Mm-hmm.
But as we find out a little later on, he's just doing it for the money.
Oh, right.
He goes back on what he said, I would say, really. But Commander Grey gets the upper hand on Captain Argaius, which really wasn't that hard because Argaius went for the blaster and Commander Grey just kneed him in the head. Commander Grey starts to make a comment of, like, we have different opinions on what makes a good soldier. But in the middle of that, the Viceroy takes a blaster and hits him on the back of the head.
Yep.
Knocking him out. And at this point, the Jedi catch up with Ventress again, and start fighting Ventress for like the third or fourth time together now.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know, but at one point, Ventress starts laughing, a typical witch laugh while she's in the middle of fighting them, which was just kind of like, what is going through her head? Like, what?
I think we skipped some. When Luminara is initially fighting Ventress.
No,
She said, I recognize the fighting style
Oh.
of Count Dooku.
Yeah, we
definitely skipped that.
Yeah.
We did.
And that's when she kind of realizes that this has to be Count Dooku's apprentice, you know?
Yeah, so
At the
she's
very least, has received training from Count Dooku.
Right. Oh, right. Yeah, so she's kind of piecing it together, being like, all right, I'm underestimating this person. They've had some training.
I will say, though, at that point, though, when Luminara makes that comment, she also says that something along the lines of
You're
like
sloppy.
That Ventress is sloppy and it's unrefined, which,
unrefined.
as we see, just makes Ventress even more pissed off.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when Ventress really starts getting the upper hand over Luminara at that point. That is jumping back a little ways, though, yeah.
It is jumping back a lot, but I think that also comes back to when Dooku said there's no room for failure, because I think that just pisses Ventress off because she knows she's failed before, and that brings out more rage in her, which makes her stronger with the dark side of the Force.
Yeah,
I agree. Yeah.
And that's why she starts to get the upper hand.
Yeah.
Sorry, I had to jump back to that.
No, you're right. That was good.
We
We overlooked it. I'm glad that you went back.
Yeah. But, going back to Ventress having that weird, like, just typical witch laugh in the middle of the fight, I don't know if that's just, like, because at that point she's holding her own very well. I don't know if that's just her arrogance or, her realizing that she's about to get the upper hand or what was going through her head there. But it just kind of had me like, what the
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. I saw that and I kind of like one of those cringy things. It's like, what?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I do want to point out, because I had mentioned earlier that right there towards the beginning of this episode, Ventress did get that comment from that clone she killed. And she uses that at this point to kind of, signal Captain Argaius that she's making her escape.
Yeah.
And Argaius had signaled to her just before this, basically telling her that he's got the Viceroy.
Right.
But can I just put in here, like, as she's escaping, totally reminds me of a General Grievous move. Such a coward.
A little bit.
Such a coward.
I would kind of counter that in saying that she's leaving because she's achieved the mission's completed at this point. Would be kind of my counter, but she definitely is running like a General Grievous move.
That's what I thought. Like, she's getting out of there as fast as she can.
Yeah.
But just correct me if I'm overlooking anything. But Argaius and Gunray get in a ship, the ship that, the transport one that originally had gotten there with Gunray. They stole that and they take off. Argaius takes off his helmet and he has very stupid hair. Not as bad as Padme, but still.
And so they escaped, and then Ventress goes away in a escape pod and meets up with them. And she walks in, and Argaius is talking about like taking credit, basically, like I'll be a legend and all that.
Yeah.
And he mentions something to her that, well, doesn't really sit well with her. I forget exactly what he said, but basically something like, I'll share some of the fame, or something like that. And then she's like,
yeah, he kind of said something along the lines of like, "Oh, don't worry, I'll let Count Dooku know that you helped a little bit."
Yeah. And she gets angry because it's like, well, you know what? And I think maybe it's one of those things where she's like kind of realizing, well, this was kind of my test. I need to prove myself. So, screw you. And she stabs him. She ignites the lightsaber from behind him, and
I think that's part of it. And also, I think part of it is she just wants the credit anyways. Like, regardless of whether she had to prove herself or not, I think she just wanted all the credit anyways.
Yeah, probably.
It's kind of like when General Grievous killed that scrapper.
Mm-hmm.
Remember that?
Yeah.
Yeah, when he was as a scrapper.
And it's like, I don't need you anymore.
Yeah, and I mean, at that point, too, it's for Grievous at that point and for Ventress at this point, it's like, well, now I can spin it however I want.
Right.
Like, for Grievous, be like, well, I found the droid and I got the information.
And Ventress can be like, I rescued him by myself against 2 Jedi.
Yeah, against 2 Jedi and a whole Republic cruiser full of clones. I did all of it, Dooku.
Exactly.
Yeah, they're like just, bolstering their own status, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so Ventress kills Captain Argaius. And I remember right before she shows up on there with Argaius and the Viceroy makes a comment to Argaius, something along the lines of like, I always had a good feeling about you, Captain. And then Ventress shows up and kills Argaius, and the Viceroy's quick to turn, be like, I always had a good feeling about you, assassin. Like, you can tell he's just trying to butter up to higher his own step.
Yeah, I noticed that.
Yeah. At that point, Ventress and the Viceroy escape, and they get out of there. And it jumps back to Luminara and Ahsoka, and they're based. Now they have to report to the Jedi Council that they lost the Viceroy.
Mm-hmm.
And so they kind of give that report, and we find out here that Master Fisto, Jedi Master Kit Fisto, who again is an actual Jedi Master, who we'll see in the next episode.
Mm-hmm.
We get told he's fairly close to where the ship was last, or to where they're tracking the ship, because they can track it. It's a Republic ship,
Right.
And I don't know if it was just me, but it kind of seemed like they were saying, Fisto's going to capture the Viceroy again. It's not going to be, he's going to try, it's not going to, to me it kind of seemed like, oh, don't worry, he'll capture him again, instead of like he's going to try to.
Kind of like they were overconfident in his skills.
Yeah. And don't get me wrong, Kit Fisto's a very skilled Jedi, but to me it just seemed like there's a lot of arrogance in there of like, he'll do it, no problem, whatever.
Right.
Yeah.
I feel like that's sexist as hell. To be honest. That seems like they're talking down on them because they're females. And like, oh yeah, he'll get it, don't worry.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he can do what you couldn't. Like, that just kind of, to me, now that you point that out, it kind of seems like...
Yeah. I don't know if it was that, or more so just you guys messed up and he's good. Like,
I don't know if it was meant to be sexist, but to me it comes off that way.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, I didn't really see it as, kind of saw it more of like the Jedi are overconfident in their abilities. I guess is kind of how I saw it.
Yeah, that's kind of what I perceived it as.
When I was like, "Oh, I'll take care of it." I just feel like it just shows again, as a whole, the Jedi are overconfident in their own abilities, and the abilities of like their peers.
Okay,
that's just how I took it. But
I actually had a few questions on this episode.
yeah,
Okay.
and I was just going to say right here when they make that comment about Fisto recapturing the Viceroy is when the episode ends and we go into the credits.
Right.
Yeah. And I had a few questions. So we know Ventress. It's confirmed that she is Count Dooku's apprentice.
Yeah. And that is meant. We see that at the beginning of this episode. It's, I guess, reconfirmed.
Right.
Where Ventress calls Count Dooku my master, and Count Dooku says, "You have to prove yourself, my apprentice."
Right. I don't know if I'm the only one with this question, but I know apprentice, there's one per, right? One apprentice per master?
At a time, yeah. But I will say Jedi Knights and Jedi Masters will have multiple apprentices throughout their time as a Jedi, but they only do it one at a time.
If you're an apprentice, you can't have an apprentice, though?
Correct.
So how can Count Dooku be an apprentice of Sidious and have his own apprentice?
Just because, I mean, I don't. Maybe Evan, you have a different answer. I'd say because, I mean, they're not Jedi. There's not really a structure to them. They're rebelling, so it's just kind of like, hey, however we can get these guys to, strengthen.
Well, it's a lot more detailed than that, I guess. So really, so the Sith have what's called the Rule of Two, a master and apprentice. There's no other Sith. There's a master and an apprentice. And that comes from thousands of years prior to where we're at this point in Star Wars. So, like, originally with the Sith, it was a lot like the Jedi. They had, like, a Sith Council. They had Sith Masters, Sith Knights, Sith Apprentices, so on and so forth. But then one Sith Lord at one point decided, this isn't working. We're changing it. It's going to be one master, one apprentice. We're going to pick the strongest master of what we have right now, and he's going to choose an apprentice and teach the apprentice almost everything he knows. And that's a big factor here when you look at the Sith. It's a Sith master will never teach their apprentice everything they know, because the Sith are so consumed by getting more power. So, like, and I was talking to Gage about this last night, a Sith apprentice will take their own apprentice in secret and start training that apprentice to try and overthrow the original apprentice's master. So that original apprentice can become the master.
So he's hoping that Ventress can get strong enough and help him overthrow Sidious.
Yeah, so Count Dooku has taken Ventress as his apprentice in secret. So according to Darth Sidious, Ventress is just an assassin who Dooku's given a little bit of training to. That's all she is. But secretly, as we know, Ventress is his apprentice who he's trying to train so he can defeat Sidious and become the master. And then she would officially take the role of Sith apprentice. And so it's very rare and very, very uncommon for a Sith master to die of natural causes or die from a sickness. Because
hence Palpatine.
Because once they get so old, they're not as powerful as they used to be. Their bodies, they're old.
Yeah.
And so that's really when, like, a Sith apprentice would try and overthrow their master, or if, let's say, an apprentice and master are fighting some Jedi and the master gets injured, the apprentice might then take that opportunity to kill his master
and become
the new master.
Right, and you kind of, I mean, look at Darth Plagueis,
I was just about to bring that up, Jacob, yeah.
Okay, yeah.
And because as we see in Revenge of the Sith, in one of the scenes...
We haven't talked about that yet.
No. Palpatine kind of tells Anakin the story of Darth Plagueis. And in that story, he says Darth Plagueis taught his apprentice all he knew. And then his apprentice turned and killed him. And so that's why I make the comment that Sith Masters very rarely or almost never teach their apprentice everything. Because then that just leaves the apprentice, well, he knows some stuff that I don't. Is that stuff going to be a factor when I try and overthrow him? Is that stuff going to give him more of an advantage over me in the fight? What exactly does he know?
Okay. Okay. Another question I had is, so we know Count Dooku is the Emperor's apprentice.
Mm-hmm.
But then, spoiler alert, in episode 3, now the Emperor, is it common for the Sith to go through more than one apprentice, having them die?
Yeah, it's a fairly common occurrence. And as we saw with Darth Sidious, he had Darth Maul as his apprentice in episode 1. Episode 2, he has Count Dooku. Episode 3, at the end, he gets Darth Vader. And this all goes back to that whole rule of 2 thing. So as we know, the Jedi, at this point in the galaxy, there's thousands of Jedi. All the way from younglings all the way to Jedi Master. And so you putting 2 Sith against thousands of Jedi, and obviously, at some point, a Sith is going to get overwhelmed by just sheer numbers. And so a Sith Lord, it's not uncommon for them to go through several apprentices. Like, if you look back at Darth Maul, and in Legend, at one point, Darth Maul fights 5 or 6 Jedi at the same time, and Darth Maul was skilled enough to kill all of them. But it wouldn't surprise me if there's something out there showing that at one point Sidious had a different apprentice before Darth Maul who got killed by a Jedi.
My last question, I think, for this episode is, so you guys are referring to Gunray as Viceroy.
Mm.
What's Viceroy mean? Is that like a social status in the Empire, or what's the whole Viceroy?
So the Viceroy is a rank in the Trade Federation, which is a company that makes up part of the Separatist Alliance. So Newt Gunray being the Viceroy basically means he's in charge of the Trade Federation. There might be a second Viceroy that's like they're the 2 heads, or there might be 3 heads. But it's kind of like he's basically equivalent in the terms of control of his order as like Yoda or Mace Windu in the Jedi Order.
Okay.
So like he's the top guy in the Trade Federation, which makes him a top guy in the Separatist Alliance.
Okay. Yeah, I was just confused on if we go from Newt Gunray to Viceroy to just Gunray.
Yeah, so his title is Viceroy, but his name is Newt Gunray. So it's Viceroy Newt Gunray.
Yeah.
Because I know in the intro to this episode, they did not say Viceroy Newt Gunray. They just referred to him as Newt Gunray.
Yeah. And I did want to. I'll save this till the next episode. It's about the red lightsaber.
Okay.
So I didn't know if you had any questions or any thoughts or anything like that, Jacob, on this episode.
Nope. I said mine, and I don't have anything to add.
Okay.
Yeah. So
I didn't have any last comments on that episode either, so we can jump right into the next episode if you guys want.
Yep.
Yeah, let's do it.
Sounds good to me.
All right. So the next episode is season 1, episode 10, Lair of Grievous.
Yeah.
And the quote that it gave for this one is, "Most powerful is he who controls his own power." And I just took that as, you're going to be a lot stronger, a lot more powerful, a lot more in control, as it says, when you know your limits, when you know when to back off, when to push the attack, when to ask for help, that kind of thing. Just kind of like know yourself and you'll be better for it.
Right. And that, in this episode, that is kind of, in a way, I'd say, shown,
Yeah, I definitely think that's a key factor of this episode. And I will say, these quotes that they give at the beginning of each episode definitely has meaning, or kind of foretells a little bit of what's going to happen in the episode itself.
Yeah, but yeah, so the summary that Disney Plus has given for this episode, Lair of Grievous, is just that General Grievous must prove himself worthy of the Separatists when Count Dooku leads Jedi Master Kit Fisto and his former Padawan,
the Mon Calamari Jedi, Nadar Veb, to Grievous's villainous enclave.
Yeah.
But yeah.
And so this one kicks off, and again this is right after where the last episode ended.
Yep.
There's not a whole lot of time difference here. I would say maybe a day or two, 3 at most would be my guess. And this kicks off with Kit Fisto sitting in his Jedi fighter. They've tracked that Republic ship that Ventress and Gunray took to escape. They tracked that to the Vasek system. And so it actually tells us right there in the intro, Kit Fisto tracked it there, and so did, as you said, his old apprentice, Nadar Veb.
Yeah.
And so, Kit Fisto gets informed that Nadar is already on the planet, standing by. So, he goes down and meets up with his old apprentice. And I think it's important to point out here that, Kit Fisto makes a comment of he's apologizing to Nadar for not being able to be there to finish Nadar's training.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to point this out because it kind of shows, when the whole Clone Wars kicked off, some Padawans that were getting close to going through the trials to get the rank of Knight, they were kind of, I don't want to say abandoned by their masters, but they're kind of left to their own devices of kind of figuring out what to do next.
Yeah.
Because their masters were called to, be generals in the war.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys got this feeling, but like when he said it'd be good to see my old Padawan again, I instantly got a bad feeling.
Yeah.
I got a bad feeling about the Padawan.
Yeah, like literally. Go ahead.
What's up?
Oh, I just said that. Yeah, even in my notes, like I had the same thing because my first note was just pointing out R6 is Master Fisto's Astro Droid. Next one, Nadar Veb is Fisto's former Padawan. Okay, and then the very next one, I don't trust him.
Yeah, I just got an instantly bad feeling about it.
Yeah,
I don't know why.
I didn't really have a bad feeling about it personally, but
yeah.
I guess that's partly just because I've seen this show a couple times already.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't know. I felt like there was some bad blood.
So we got bad blood. Oh shoot! Copyright. Never mind.
We don't own rights to any songs we sing in this podcast.
So, so Kit Fisto lands on the surface and meets up with Nadar.
Right, and
we kind of had that greeting of, where I said like Fisto kind of apologizes for not being there for his trials.
Right.
And then Nadar just kind of, I don't want to say blows it off, but just kind of like, oh, it's not that big of a deal. I understand, type of deal,
Nadar kind of sounds like an asshole.
Nadar is definitely arrogant throughout this episode.
Oh, yes.
He's very arrogant. He thinks he's got a chip on his shoulder for sure. He thinks way higher than himself than where he's actually at.
And he's the only other Jedi Knight we see.
Yeah,
besides Anakin.
This is the second Jedi Knight that we're actually introduced to. Obviously the first one being Anakin.
Mm-hmm.
And as I said, earlier, Kit Fisto is a Jedi Master. He holds the rank of Master.
Right.
And so, they meet up, and Fisto and Nadar, along with their clones, start moving towards the tracker, the beacon from the tracker. They come up to this large door.
Right. And with that, where are they? Like, what planet did it say?
All it said was the Vasek system.
Okay.
So I don't know if the planet is actually called Vasek, or if that's just the area that they're in.
Because just that whole scene about them like moving stuff, it just reminded me of Dathomir. And I know, I didn't think that it was actually like it was there because there's too much going on with that as far as Ventress and Night Sisters and all that for them not to mention that while they're there. So I didn't think it was, but it just reminded me of it.
Yeah, and so they find that door, and this again is, I guess, showing Nadar's lack of experience. And he's quick to, him and the clones as well they're all quick to blow the door open or cut a hole through the door. And Kit Fistle's like, let's take a step back here for a second, have a little patience. There's an easier way to get through this than resorting to cutting through the door or blowing it up or making a noise that might alert our enemy to our presence.
Right.
And Kit Fisto masterfully determines the combination to get inside. And
I'd like to point out at this point, they said there's no guards, and I instantly wrote trap. Yeah, definitely sounds like a trap.
I'm surprised that Nadar Veb didn't do it, since he's really related to the "it's a trap" guy.
Admiral Akbar.
Yeah. Well, anyway.
I instantly thought this was a trap.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And right when they enter too, Kit Fisto makes a comment of he feels a disturbance. He feels like something's. He senses something.
Somebody literally said it smells like droids.
One of the clones did, yeah. But I did remember, Kit Fisto makes a comment like, I sense something's wrong. I sense that something's here with us. You know, so he's already kind of on edge. He's already suspecting it might be a trap. I mean, sort of the clones and Nadar, but I think Kit Fisto's definitely, he's a lot more suspicious of what they're going into than the others are.
Like you said, Nadar already is overconfident as hell.
Yeah. And so they started pushing forward into this lair, for lack of a better term, and they start hearing some droids up ahead. They go through the door and start hearing some droids, and then they hear the Viceroy's voice. And I thought it was kind of funny because the Viceroy is saying, "Oh, the Jedi will be here soon," blah 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 blah, and the droids are like, "Viceroy, the Jedi are here." And he's like, "Oh, they're somewhere close by." Viceroy, the Jedi are here.
Yeah, when they were
it's just staged, but
exactly when they were walking up on when Kit Fisto and Nadar Veb were walking towards that, and he was doing that, I'm like, bro, he's not in that chair. That has to be automated. And it ended up, I guess, not being. What?
So Gage made the same comment. He's not
no way he's there.
No, and I mean, it didn't end up being automated or a pre-recorded thing. But I mean, as we see, pretty soon, they defeat the droids. He's not there. But actually, I didn't write down the note, but this is where Kit Fisto. He points out to Nadar, he's kind of you need to practice restraint kind of thing. That's not the Jedi way, because he finishes off a droid.
Well, I don't think it's just that he finished off the droid. It's more of Nadar was getting overly aggressive, I guess. He was...
Well, no, I mean, okay, yeah, he finished him off. I'm not saying that. I mean, how he did it, because he basically just executed him.
Yeah.
He didn't just finish him. He's does this force thing to destroy his head. I don't know. It's more so how he did it.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And as we see, it turns out there's just a hologram of the Viceroy with the tracking device sitting on the chair there. And then we see Count Dooku appear.
Right.
And basically tells him, the Viceroy's obviously not here, but how about an alternative prize? And instantly, I was just thinking trap. Trap. And obviously Nadar and Fisto both kind of recognize it as well once Dooku disappears, or leaves, I guess. And they kind of make the comments of well, it's obviously a trap, but is it a trap for us? Is it a trap for someone else? Are we the bait?
Right.
Are we supposed to be springing a trap? What exactly is Count Dooku's intentions here? And then, they kind of have that brief conversation, and then, they, along with the clones, start moving forward again. And they go by a room that has a statue of a strange warrior in it. When they kind of step in, they're kind of take a few brief glances. And what I'm sure a lot of people don't know is that's actually General Grievous.
Yeah.
Before all of the whole cyborg thing happens to him.
Yeah, I had made that. I was like, oh, we're getting like glimpses of his backstory. Like I was getting excited.
Yeah. And I guess a little bit about General Grievous's backstory, which most people don't know, is General Grievous used to be like a war chief of a clan that would go around and like rape and pillage and plunder like villages and towns and whatnot. And so his hatred for the Jedi actually stemmed from this, because Jedi are sent to stop this from happening. And what ends up happening is the Jedi end up killing his entire clan besides him. And so, his hatred for the Jedi really just comes from the death of his people.
Yeah. Now,
and that's why he's always talks about killing Jedi and wanting them all dead and how none of them should be alive. All that stuff that he rants on about.
Right, but now also he wasn't always a cyborg.
Correct. Yeah, he wasn't always all mechanical and whatnot. But yeah, so they go by that room and they kind of see and kind of make a few comments, and they go further in and they see more statues of Grievous before he was cyborg, and then they find his spare room part, and that's really when they realize where they're at exactly.
Right.
And as we see, there's just a bunch of spare like face plates, spare arms, legs. Just this entire room's just filled with spare parts for him. And it kind of made me laugh just thinking, because like, and I know it's not true, but in my head it was just kind of like, how bad is General Grievous that he has to have this many spare parts?
Well, okay.
And I kind of reserve about saying that, because General Grievous is definitely not a bad fighter.
No.
Grievous is very skilled in the way he fights, but it just kind of cracked me up that he had this many spare parts.
Right, and I'm not going to jump ahead any, but I have a note on that a little bit later, just something that is funny to me. But let's move along, because Grievous shows up.
And right before he showed up, sorry, I just wanted to touch on this real quick. Kit Fisto and Nadar find all those lightsabers sitting in that room as well. And they even commented, these must be the trophies that he takes from the Jedi he's killed.
Yeah.
Which, although we don't see Grievous kill a lot of Jedi in the TV show, it definitely talks, or I guess shows that he's very good at killing Jedi. It's not like he's only killed one or two; he's killed a lot of Jedi.
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead where you were.
Oh,
going. I just wanted to talk on that.
Yeah, no, just Grievous shows up and he's walking through and he's calling out to like his droids, like his guards, like, where are you guys? Which we find out were deactivated, but that's later on. And Kit Fisto, Nadar, and all their clones, they pop out and they're like basically demanding his surrender.
Yeah, they set a trap for him because they were warned by those two clones left out at the ship.
Right, yes. And he pulls out his lightsaber, starts fighting. And
I do want to mention, and this is just going towards the arrogance of some of the Jedi. Kit Fisto was like, before they decided to set their trap, he was just like, we got to get out of here. Let's leave, basically.
Yeah.
And Nadar is more like, oh, we could capture General Grievous. We can do it. And they've got two Jedi and 5 or 6 clones. And again, that just to me is just speaking to the arrogance of not just the Jedi, overestimating their own abilities.
Yeah. Yeah, and but anyway, yeah, and that's overestimating because we see how it turns out. He puts up a good amount of a fight.
And ambush him, and the clones shoot those cables into Grievous's legs to try and hold him down.
Yeah, they cut off his
his
legs.
First point in the show where we see him use all 4 arms.
This is true. Yeah.
Yeah.
And see him yield 4 lightsabers.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Yeah,
don't see that.
Right.
Yeah. Up until this point, whenever we've seen Grievous, he's just used 2.
Yeah. Now he's using 4 because he knows
it's 2 Jedi.
It's about to get real.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I mean, even though he knows that it's about to get real, I mean, Grievous is definitely confident in his own abilities, rightfully so.
Right.
Because he's got cables in his legs and he's held in place. And he's still holding his own against 2 Jedi.
Right. And amongst this, he starts doing his stupid crab walk thing. I hate it.
I did write down a couple notes too. Right before he actually escapes.
Yeah.
You just have 1 clone killed, 2 clones killed.
Oh,
Grievous escapes. I don't know. It's just even though he's pinned down, he's still killing people. It's not like he's just on the defensive. He's still going on the offensive in some points.
Yeah.
But yeah, he starts doing this stupid crab walk thing because he loses his legs.
Yeah, and he retires to that back room. He goes through the door and escapes. Yeah, but he's got his own little personal doctor, and
Yeah.
I love that little dude. He sounds like John Mulaney, and he's just so sassy, in a comedic way. Because he's just right off the bat, I think he comments something on his fighting skills. He's just you really got to improve your fighting skills. Or something this happens too much kind of thing.
Yeah. I did note that after that scene, it jumps back to the Jedi and the clones, and Nadar blames the clones for getting in his way during the fight.
Yeah.
That's definitely not a Jedi thing to do.
Right.
And I don't know if, again, that's just speaking to his arrogance or what, but he straight out blames the clones straight to Fisto that they got in his way, and that's the only reason Grievous escaped.
Right. And yeah, somewhere in here, Nadar says I have a bad feeling about this.
Yeah. Well, because the Jedi are getting ready to leave, and that's when Grievous traps him.
Yeah.
Closes the door.
Right.
I think he closes the door, and this is when he drops the floor on him.
Right.
And this is when we see, yet another clone get killed. So he falls in I don't know if it was lava or what exactly it was. But he falls. But the clone commander, had a quick reaction, shot a grappling hook to save himself. And at this point, they radio to the 2 clones that are outside at the ship to hey, radio for help, get us some backup. And General Grievous has reactivated his guards at this time. And the Magna Guards actually get out there and destroy the ship, killing these 2 clones.
Right.
And then they move to destroy Fisto's Jedi fighter, but R6 makes a quick getaway, and one of the Magna Guards is hang on the ship, and he just does a spin thing and makes it go flying away, which I thought was kind of funny to watch.
Yeah. But yeah, and then Grievous releases Gore.
Mm-hmm.
Which I don't even know how to describe that thing, but a beast.
Gore is he's like a cyborg Rancor.
Yeah, that's a good descriptor.
Yeah, so for those watching, if you've seen Return of the Jedi, we see a Rancor in Return of the Jedi. Just, I guess kind of think of that with a robotic tail, a robotic arm, and a robotic leg.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and
at this point, it jumps to Grievous real quick, and the droid starts doing repairs on Grievous after he tells them, "Oh, I got something in store for you guys."
Yeah. Yeah, and he starts fixing him. He replaces his legs and even his face covering.
Yeah.
And
what happened around in here? Oh, because he was like, didn't the droid say something like the doctor? Didn't he say something like, why did you make these upgrades anyway? Something like that.
Yeah, like why did you submit to the improvements?
Yeah.
And Grievous like quickly like snaps back like, I don't submit to anybody. I chose these.
Yeah, and okay, did he choose to become a cyborg, or is it referring to just simple improvements?
Per canon right now he chose, but before this came out,
Yeah.
Which is legend now, he was actually severely injured.
Well, that was that was my kind of question, because I'm like, I thought that's what happened, but
per legend he was like severely injured and had to go cyborg, but with this, I think he was still injured some, but then instead of just like healing, he decided to go cyborg.
Yeah. Okay.
But then he gets fully repaired, and we see Count Dooku show up again.
Yeah.
And he basically tells General Grievous that his faith in Grievous is shaken by all the failures that Grievous is.
Yeah. So he's reassessing his effectiveness.
Yeah. And Grievous just hangs up on Count Dooku.
Yeah.
Before Count Dooku's in the middle of saying something, Grievous just hangs up.
Yeah, he does that a lot.
Yeah. And during this, Kit Fisto and Nadar are fighting Gore. And Gore actually kills the clone commander. The commander at this point. Like picks him up with its robotic tail and slams him on the ground and breaks his neck.
Yeah.
And here I actually wrote down that Nadar shows darkness.
Yes.
Nadar just shows like his dark side, because he's talking about getting revenge.
Right.
For the commander and the clones, getting revenge on General Grievous.
Right.
As Fisto points out, revenge is not the Jedi way.
Right. Yeah.
And I think, and Nadar at that point, I'm pretty sure Nadar kind of goes on a rant of saying, something along the lines of like, maybe in the past the times have changed, we have to change the way we approach things.
Right.
And Fisto kind of retorts back like, well, maybe you're the one that's changed.
Right.
Maybe you should look at yourself and figure out what's happened to make you change and want revenge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and then they start. They kind of like sneak up on Grievous and his Magna Guards. They're not sneaking up on them, but they're sneaking up, and they hear them, they see them, they see Grievous's code to get into his control room area.
Yeah.
And then they eventually they sneak past him and start to enter that, but then that doctor alerts Grievous because he's looking in on the cameras. And
and at this point again, it just shows Nadar's arrogance.
Yes, certainly.
Nadar's like, "Oh, I'll hold them off. You go. I'll take care of this." And Fisto, who knows how strong Grievous actually is, he's like, "No, we gotta go. Let's go." And the Doctor Droid closes the door, splitting them up.
Right. And and then
so,
Nadar
Fisto
fights
goes and,
him.
Yeah, Nadar starts fighting Grievous. Fisto kind of makes his way in and I guess sneaks up on the Doctor Droid and destroys the droid. And he's kind of watching Nadar's fight with Grievous in the cameras. And this is where we see Grievous actually kill. This is where we see him kill. That he fights. As we know, he's killed plenty more in the past.
Right.
But Nadar is fighting Grievous in the Magna Guards, and Nadar destroys quite a few of the Magna Guards, and then he starts fighting Grievous. And Grievous kind of does like a little sneaky with one of his hands and just grabs a blaster and shoots Nadar while Nadar's distracted.
Right.
And kills him.
Yep. And right before this happened, I made the note because you saw it coming. I mean, I was like, Nadar is going to die. I mean, arrogance and revenge cloud the mind.
Yeah.
He's bent on that, and he's not thinking clearly, and not acting smart. And then
It's killed.
Then at this point, R6 actually makes contact with Kit Fisto again, and they get a little plan to meeting on the the South Landing platform.
Right.
And so Kit Fisto starts making his way there along with R6 and the fighter. And Fisto gets out to the landing platform and he's like waiting for R6, and Grievous shows up. And so they start duking it out.
Right.
I will say, Fisto definitely has a little bit of a strategy in his mind. He starts using the mist to his advantage.
Right.
To where Kit Fisto can use the Force to sense where Grievous is. Grievous doesn't have that ability.
Right.
And so Fisto's kind of like doing a couple attacks, ducking back into the mist. Quick couple attacks, duck back into the mist. And then some Magna Guards show up, and again, or no, sorry, not yet. Magna Guards don't show up yet. Kit Fisto ends up cutting off one of the hands of Grievous, and then he just kind of goes ham with the two lightsabers with Grievous.
Yeah, and that lightsaber is Nadar's, ain't it?
I'm pretty sure, yeah.
Yeah, but I made the note that amongst this fight, I'm really surprised that Fisto doesn't accidentally cut off one of his tentacle dreadlocks. Like, because do you see how hard they're, like, flopping around? Like, he's just spinning, and, like, I'm surprised he hasn't accidentally, like, cut some of them off. But, anyway.
Yeah. So the two, Grievous and Fisto, are going back and forth. And this is when the Magna Guards show up, and they're kind of like, they're keeping Kit Fisto out of the mist. They're kind of like surrounded him, so he has to fight Grievous.
Right.
Fisto gets right there on the edge of the platform, and that's when R6 shows up with the Jedi fighter, and Fisto gives that kind of like smirky grin, like, I'm getting away.
Yeah. And then
he goes back and gets on the fighter and leaves.
Right.
And then it jumps to Grievous contacting Dooku again, and he tells Count Dooku that the Jedi and the clones were defeated, and this is where Dooku, I don't really know how to say it, like it shows like that he's impressed at first, I guess.
Yeah, because he's like taking out a what?
He kind of makes a comment like killing the clones from the Jedi Knight was expected.
Right, and then he's like, but a Jedi Master, that's impressive or something. And then Grievous is like, Jedi Master Fisto got away. And then Dooku's like, improvement is needed then.
Yeah, like there's some lines like there's still room for improvement, yeah.
Right, and he's just Grievous is constantly disappointing Dooku.
Yeah.
But
then there jumps to Kit Fisto again right here at the end of the episode, and he lets Yoda and Mace Windu know that Nadar was killed. Grievous, the Viceroy has escaped. It was Grievous's lair.
Right.
And right there is really where the episode ends.
Yeah. The ending kind of. It wasn't an exact quote, but what I wrote was basically what Yoda was saying, but I wrote it like, not like Yoda. He just says, to answer power with power is not the Jedi way. There's a danger in losing yourself in this war.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of what was happening with Nadar. He was like, we need to strike back. We need to revenge. That's how this war is won. And,
And Yoda makes comments like that periodically throughout the show, and even we hear it a little bit in Revenge of the Sith too.
Yeah.
About Jedi being more arrogant. We need to be careful on how we approach this, because there's the strong possibility that Jedi are going to fall to the dark side. They're going to lose themselves, as you said.
Yeah. But yeah, that's the end of that episode.
Yeah.
So, what would you... Well, first off, Gage, do you have any comments? Any things?
Well, I didn't really pay attention to this episode.
Okay.
It was pretty boring.
Okay. Oh, that's fine.
Until right there at like the end with the lightsaber fight.
Yeah, I didn't really care about General Grievous's lair.
Okay. That's fair.
I don't really know what this brings to the story of the show. Because you probably never step foot in Grievous's lair again.
No.
So I don't understand what the big deal is that this all takes place in Grievous's lair.
Yeah.
I felt like this was a filler episode for this.
I think it was more of one than usual, but I mean, I saw some purpose to it. But either way, I get that. You know, it's not as interesting. But I guess Evan, you had some Star Wars news that you wanted to share, and then I have something that is kind of, I guess if you're on board for it, then awesome. Otherwise, it's just whatever. But something I wanted to mention as far as like an intent with the podcast, and like maybe an upcoming kind of event type of thing.
Okay.
But
before
anyway.
I do that, I guess the announcement. One thing that I did want to touch on.
Mm-hmm.
And Gage and I were talking about it last night a little bit. I don't remember if you had mentioned something about like Grievous having green and blue lightsabers or what exactly came from. But it's kind of like the origin of the red lightsaber, or how a Sith gets a red lightsaber. And I'll just talk about briefly here.
I'll be honest, I don't remember this conversation last night. I might have had a few too many.
Just a couple. But basically, the way a Sith gets their red lightsaber, so like the way Dooku would have gotten his, the way Darth Vader gets his, Darth Maul, Darth Sidious, all of them, is through basically a ritual known as bleeding a crystal. So basically what they do is a Sith would kill a Jedi, or they would get a crystal, or they take their crystal from when they were a Jedi. They would get a crystal somehow, right?
Yeah.
And then they would bleed it, which means they would take all their hatred, their rage, their anger, all that kind of stuff that fuels them, and they would just pour that through the Force into the lightsaber crystal, which would then corrupt the crystal and turn it red. Like I said, I don't remember how or what. Gage asked something last night. I can't remember exactly what he asked last night.
Again, don't remember.
But that got brought up. But yeah, so I just wanted to kind of let that be known. It kind of explains why Grievous doesn't have red lightsabers, I guess. Yeah, and then the one announcement I had. And Gage actually saw this on Facebook the other day. So it's rumored that there's going to be a live action show for Admiral Thrawn, who is actually, and this takes place, this show is supposed to take place after the fall of the Empire, if I'm not mistaken. And Admiral Thrawn is actually like the best, I guess, naval commander that the Emperor had during the time of the Empire. You actually get introduced to him in Star Wars Rebels. Like when you first get introduced to Admiral Thrawn.
See.
So there's a rumored live action show for that's supposed to be based around him.
Neat.
So,
cool.
Yeah.
So I just had I was thinking, and I kind of have an idea. Gage, when are you, like, okay, so Evan said that, like, a week before the wedding, he's going to be out here, or back here. When are you going to, like, when are you thinking of coming back?
I'm coming back Friday night before your wedding.
So that Friday night. Wedding will be on a Sunday, okay. Well, somewhere in there.
I'm staying at least, I won't leave until at least Monday or Tuesday. Okay.
Well, I'll be freaking yeeting on out of here. Not yeeting grandma, but yeeting down to, I think, Tennessee. I think that's where I'm thinking as far as the honeymoon. But regardless, I was thinking...
Oh, yeah, boy!
What?
What?
You cut out. I honestly don't know what you said.
Oh!
Honeymoon!
Oh, man! Let's put it on record. Tess and Jacob's baby was conceived in Tennessee.
Dear God. Anyway,
what were you wanting to suggest?
I was gonna say that a little bit before that one of the days before, I wanted us all to get together and say, screw Discord. Let's record some episodes all together, sitting around a table or something.
I can't do that. I gotta work, man.
Well, if you're coming Friday, we still got some time.
Yeah, playing on Saturday, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, that's honestly what I was thinking, but... maybe not, but I just, that was an idea.
No, I'll be fine. I'm fine with Saturday before your wedding.
Okay. Well, we'll talk about it later, but I just kind of, I thought maybe, hey, we can have a, special episode in a way.
Potentially.
But anyway, yeah, I don't have any other comments.
I didn't have anything else unless you have any questions or comments or anything, Gage?
I mean, just guys, keep drinking beer, supporting your local breweries, because beer is the best goddamn drink in the world, quoting the great Jack Nicholson.
All right, there you have it. We'll see you guys next time on You're in Depth.
Yep, sounds good.
Peace.
Deuces!